Babylon, and we just love the two of you guys on that show.
Thank you.
I have some of these for you I gave to Ralph yesterday, but generally my question is, well, let me finish that first. Again, you amaze me how literate you are, and you hide it with your profanity. And in the midst of...
You know why? Literate dudes never get laid, man. That's not true. Actually, you know why I do it? It's because of George Carlin. When I was a kid, I sat down and I loved George Carlin's, his entire body of work. But when I remember, there's a moment that really crystallized for me, because I was sitting there going, oh my God, I want to be that guy one day. Something like him, because it was a moment that unified my household. And I watched Carlin and Carnegie on HBO. It's the first time that it had ever aired at that point. And my father would buy me George Carlin albums at work. There was a guy that would sell records out of the back of his car and shit. My father worked the night shift at the post office. He was the guy who would steal your money out of your Christmas cards and shit like that. Actually, he didn't do that. He was the guy that canceled stamps, which was even worse. It was really soul-killing work and shit. So at lunchtime, some guy would sell records out the back of his car, and my dad would bring me comedy records. And so he gave me my first few George Carlin albums, and he was like, don't tell your mother, because my mom's like really Catholic and shit, and George, you know, was Catholic at one point. So I'm listening to these records, and I love them to death and whatnot. My father one day tells me, he's like, George Carlin's gonna be on HBO. They're gonna put one of his shows on HBO and stuff. And I was like, get out of here. He goes, yeah, we'll watch it. And I said, great. So we all gathered together in the living room, it was me and my mother and my father, to watch Carlin and Carnegie. And if you've never seen Carlin and Carnegie, it's a brilliant piece of stand-up, but it opens with George Carlin coming out and going, have you ever noticed that the people who are against abortion are people you wouldn't want to fuck in the first place? And the house goes up and everyone's laughing, and I'm laughing, and my father's laughing, and my mother is not laughing at all. She's just sitting there shaking her head, you know, and she looks at my father and she's just like, what are you talking? You told me this guy was Catholic, you know, and my father was like, was Catholic. You know, and she's like, are you kidding me? Watching this with him here, he's gonna ask all sorts of questions now. And my dad was like, no, he won't. And I turned to my mom, I was like, Mom, what's abortion? You know? And she was like, see? And she got up and she left the living room, went to the kitchen and whatnot. My dad didn't care. He was like, forget it, let's keep watching. And so we kept watching Carlin, man, and like loved it and had a great time. Carlin eventually gets to the bit about the Rice Krispies. You know, he wasn't always kind of in your face. Sometimes he just did observational stuff. So he gets to the bit about the Rice Krispies and Tippy the farting dog. And at that point, my mother came back into the room and sat down and was loving it and stuff. And I couldn't believe it, because his harsh language had sent her out of the room, but appealed to my father, the intellectualism as well as the vulgarity. But it was his observational stuff that brought my mom back into the room and stuff. And so, you know, I was like, wow, man, this is a dude who could play here and here. He played to everybody. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to be somebody that, like, I can curse in this house and not get in trouble for it. Like, that was the first person in our house that was allowed to, like, curse. Like, if people were cursing on TV, my mother would turn it off and shit. She never allowed cursing in the house. We were Catholic, so she wouldn't even say hell. She would be like, you don't want to go to HE double hockey sticks. And I was like, Canada? You know, and then did the math and shit like that. So, you know, that moment was a huge moment for me. But that's where I learned, like, I was like, I admire this man. George Carlin could speak incredibly loftily. He was very intellectual. But at the same time, he put it in a parlance that most people could kind of get their head around and whatnot. And it was the parlance of our times, if you will. So that was the moment right there where I was just like, I'm gonna be like that guy and curse my fool head off. As long as you say something smart every once in a while, they'll let you get away with it.
You do it very well. Even with what you've already said today, the word undulating was in there. But my question was, is Harley in the age range where she now hates you for naming her that?
Quite the opposite. Like, Harley actually grew up to really like that name. It's very cool at Comic-Con particularly. But Harley's of the age where she's like, we probably shouldn't have her backstage when I tell stories about her mother, which just happened a few minutes ago. So I just realized that when I was mid-story. So you're not alone, 13-year-old kid. My 15-year-old daughter's in the back going like, I need therapy. How are you? I'm gonna play this one super clean, everybody. How are you? What's your name?
Mary Kate.
Mary Kate. How old are you?
9.
9? That's young. So difficult. How have you been enjoying Comic-Con?
Very much.
Did you see the picture of Superman holding a lightsaber?
No.
I did, and it made me it made me feel good. In a very particular place. This is difficult. What do you want to know, Mary Kate?
In the future, will you ever make kids' movies for my age?
What's the equivalent of having the kid come up and be like, please stop cursing, Mr. Smith? You know what? I don't know if I'll be able to hit the 9-year-old set, so to speak, but I am making a movie that is a girl movie. That's what we start very, very soon. I'm making this movie called Yoga Hosers, and it's the two heroes of it are 15-year-old girls. It's been difficult for me to write that because I am not a 15-year-old girl. But my whole life having a daughter, man, it was really difficult to find shit to watch with her. Everything was about some boy who does something special and becomes a hero, or some man who does something special and becomes a hero and stuff. And every once in a while, they throw you, hey, there's Princess Leia, you know, or Black Widow, but you know, there's just one. There's a sea of fucking dudes that do heroic things. Sorry. There's a sea of naughty boys who, they wind up doing everything. And this world favors the boy, particularly the world of entertainment. They're always like, look, boys doing adventure and stuff. And every once in a while, they're like, look, girls like each other, they're friends, you know, or throw you a romance and stuff. So for years, growing up with a kid, it was tough to find shit to watch with her where I was just like, stuff to watch with her. Where, you know, we could enjoy it together, or that I felt like this is a good role model for her and stuff. So, you know, after years of doing that, and of going like, oh, I'm so tired of not seeing something for her, don't be a whiner, be change, you know what I'm saying? I could sit there and be like, they're not making movies for my daughter. Or, as a filmmaker, I could be like, I'll make a movie for my daughter, you know? So instead of whining about it, do something about it. If you see a problem, don't be the person that's like, look at the fucking problem. Be the person that's... Don't be the person that's like, look at that dirty problem. Be the person that's just like, I'm gonna help fix the problem or change the problem. I'm gonna not F it up. A movie for you to watch, because I'm trying to make it, this is going to sound stupid, particularly for me because I couldn't even hold a conversation with a 9-year-old, but I'm going to try to make it PG-13 as well. Just because you have to challenge yourself every once in a while. This is for no other reason than, well, I'm like, if I make an R-rated movie, then somewhere in the time stream, I can't take my daughter to go see it without people being like, what the fuck? Like, I took my kid when she was first born, we took her in a bassinet to go see Fight Club. And, I thought it was time for her to discover Fincher. And so while we're there, you know, she slept through the whole thing. She didn't make a noise or anything like that. But it was opening day, and I had the kid, and I wanted to go. So theater was empty and stuff. So there I was. There was just two women who were in front of me, older ladies like my mom's age. And then as they left, they were like, "You shouldn't bring a baby to a movie like this." And I was like, "You're right. I'm not gonna fight him, you know." But you know, other than that, there were like all these moments where like I couldn't bring my kid to stuff, and you know, because the movie was R-rated or something like that. So I was like, well, maybe I should try making a PG-13 movie. Last time I did it was Jersey Girl, and it was disastrous. But this time around, I think I might have figured out how to do it. So it is a movie for you. You're 9, you're gonna be able to see it, man. It'll be done when you're 10 years old, and I really hope you see it because it is a movie not necessarily about you specifically, but it's for you. So you don't have to watch one more dumb boy do something super. Now you get to do something super. I didn't explain it because they're kind of heroic in the movie. These two girls go on this adventure and fight supernatural powers. I'm in this like very, very specific horror mode right now, Mary Kate, where Still talking to a 9-year-old. Where like I'm into making these weird little horror movies. Like Tusk is the first in what's becoming a trilogy of horror movies, the True North trilogy. There's Tusk, the next one is Yoga Hosers, and both of them share in common rubber makeup, prosthetics, like monsters and shit like that. So the two girls in Yoga Hosers fight supernatural powers. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but they'll probably run me out of the country for it, but it's really, really fun. And hopefully we can skate in with a PG-13. And then the last movie in the horror cycle is called Moose Jaws, and that's just Jaws with a moose. And it's awesome. There's a scene where the moose is eating. I'm halfway through the script. There's a scene where the moose is eating like a 9-year-old kid right out of the lake. So you'll like that movie too. But I'm telling you, Yoga Hosers is going to be for you. You'll love it because they fight supernatural. It's fun. You'll dig it. But anyway, I am going to make a movie for 9, 10-year-olds, and it's for you. Yay! Over to you, sir. How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. What time is it? Because at a certain point, 7:30? Okay, we got a few more minutes and then we'll bring up the kids and show you the trailer and stuff. Go ahead, how are you?
I'm well. I haven't been up here in a long time. First of all, the mother of my children loves you.